Joining us now on set is senior editor at the Daily Signal and author of The Woke-to-Post, Tyler O'Neill. Tyler, President Trump says he's going to take this movement, this safer neighborhood movement, if you will, to Chicago and to Baltimore. But isn't the situation unique with Washington, D.C. in that the federal government actually does have jurisdiction to do this, whereas they might not in other cities run by other mayors?
Yeah, that's exactly correct. We have yet to see what the limits of the president's authority are in those other jurisdictions where you have local leaders who are not requesting help. But when it comes to Washington, D.C. as a federal district, Congress has plenary control, and the president has the ability, as he has done, to come in and bring order when necessary. And I think we all know it has been necessary for many years.
What do you think would keep the president, I put it this way for obvious reasons, from trying it in Chicago? I mean, we've seen legal arguments against him before, and what he will do in some cases is go ahead and do something anyway and make the courts push back. Do you expect that he will try another city? Will he try Chicago or New York or Baltimore, where he's having a thing with Wes Moore?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent question. I think President Trump is definitely weighing his options. I'm sure the people at the White House, the lawyers, are going through to dot their I's and cross their T's as we speak, in case President Trump does actually take this step to make sure that Jussie Smollett, for instance, can go get his Subway sandwich in the middle of the night on a freezing cold night in peace.
The thing with these cities are run by very liberal mayors, Brandon Johnson being probably the most liberal, also the most unpopular mayor in the United States.
Just wait for Mamdani.
I think he's at, 6% approval rating or something. It's insane. But isn't it more so the policies of these liberal mayors that are leading to kind of the lawlessness than it is National Guard presence?
Yeah, one of the big issues that's driving all this is the rogue prosecutor movement, where you have these Soros DAs. I mean, they're bankrolled by George Soros. He's increasingly starting to broaden it out and make it so it isn't quite as obvious. But they're going soft on crime, and that's one of the things that's leading to the crime spikes here. And so when we talk about George Soros and really his son Alex, who's pulling the strings at his Open Society foundations, they're one of the major forces bankrolling the left. And when I talk about in the Woke-to-Post, the left's dark money network, that is George Soros, Alex Soros, Arabella Advisors. These are the big funders who are behind the NGOs that we all talk about that were pulling the strings in the Biden administration.
And getting DAs elected that believe in cashless bail, that believe in not, prosecuting crimes. They'll get the cases drawn to them, and then they'll just let people go.
Well, in D.C., I was reading some really excellent and shocking reporting that over and over again you had these carjacking suspects who get arrested by police and then they get charged, and then what ends up happening is the prosecutors decide not to press the charges even though they stole someone's car at gunpoint. I mean, it's one of the most grotesque things I've seen in crime in this city, and my best friend was robbed at gunpoint.
And by the way, the fact that there have been no reported murders over the past 10, 11 days, compare that to what the normal number is per year, which is around 200, 220 murders a year in the district. So that when they're saying it's unlikely that you would go this amount of time without having one, that's true. So what we talk here quite often about, there was a time in which there was a Republican mayor elected in New York City, and it seemed to work. Yeah. What were the dynamics, in your opinion, that led to that? And is there any possibility that could happen somewhere else?
Well, the dynamics there, when crime got particularly bad, and this is in a different world. We're talking in the 90s.
Yeah.
We haven't had the sort of gaslighting from the left that we've had over and over again. Like, there's a reason why we talk about Chicago, where these murders are commonplace, and nobody talks about it because a lot of the violence is unfortunately black on black, and that doesn't make the headlines as much as when you get a police officer who, when a traffic stop goes bad, someone ends up, on the street. this situation that we have now, part of it is the media ecosystem and what has been considered acceptable in our cities for far too long.